Hello everybody, my name's Darren Hart, spiritual medium. I just wanted to share some time with you today and just to have a chat with you about psychic and mediumship and the conscious mind. There's lots of speculation going around in the world that mediums have this great ability to be able to see into everybody's future. Mediums are the be all end and end all of every problem that arises within our life, when actually mediums are just the same as everybody else. We're all the same. What you must understand, that in this world that nobody is any different, nobody is any better, nobody has a better ability, nobody has any opportunity that is better than anybody else. We are all level, we are all equal, we all remain the same. It doesn't matter where we live, what we have. It doesn't matter what colour we are. It doesn't matter about any disabilities. It doesn't matter about anything, because everybody is uniquely the same, but with a strange individuality. Now, as I tap into that individuality, then we start to see our main purpose and maybe goals and aims in life. If we were to look at life in itself in general, the question runs around in most people's minds, and they start to say, why are we here? What are we here for? Are we here to learn lessons? Are we here to maybe teach ourselves something different about life, or to maybe build a stronger or different essence or personality to ourselves? I don't think that anybody knows the answer. I feel personally that our whole purpose of being here is no different than being in the spirit world, because my own belief is that there is no separate worlds at all. I believe that everything is within one unique consciousness, and we as spiritual beings have an opportunity to be able to have our, let's just say, our minds and body and soul and spirit in each and every equality of the consciousness of every world that's apparent to us, or that's there for us to understand. If we were to look at the physical world, and we was to then maybe say to ourselves, the physical world is of beauty, it's of nature, it's of cars, houses, holidays, you wouldn't be far wrong. Of course, it is all of them, I would say, opportunities that we can all experience by being here in the physical world. If we were to, if we were to look at the spirit world, then we would look and people would say, well, the spirit world is where we go when we die. Now, we can look at both avenues of this, and we could either become under an illusion that there is two separate worlds, or we could be coming under the same breath of the understanding that our consciousness just moves. The physical body at the time of passing stays and remains within the vibration of the physical world. That's the law of the united understanding of the divine sense and power. But the spirit moves, and the spirit moves with our mind into a different consciousness. But what happens is the consciousness allows us to be able to still be the perception and perceivement of all of the worlds that's around us. So we actually all have this ability of being here, there and everywhere at the same time. If we were to look at the way that we dream at night time, we often have dreams and we say, oh, wow, I dreamt last night that I was on a beach in Hawaii and it felt so real. I dreamt last night that I was in the mountains of Switzerland in the snow and it felt so real. Scientists, if they look at all these aspects, they still pretty well much sort of lead us to believe that there is a possibility of that. Now, if we were to look at the spiritual aspect, I would say that there is no rules or regulations or written agreements to say that all of them things aren't possible for us to be within the consciousness of them dreams. So if we look at the reality of it, was we dreaming of a beach in Hawaii, or were we there? If we was looking at the dream of being in the mountains in Switzerland, were we there? We will never know. But what we can say is the possibilities are all there for us to experience and understand. The conscious mind, as we so regularly say, has the ability of being able to perceive different information, if you like, from different people in the ways of difference, in the sense of that we can psychically be able to read the energy of somebody else. Now, people say, how do you do that? Now, and people believe that you have to be uniquely powerful to be able to perceive the information of another person. When what we have to look at again is that these opportunities that's within our worlds is all there for us to be using to an experience. If we were to look at using the psychic on somebody else, yes, we can read the energy. Of course we can. We can look into the factors of that person's life. We can see what's gone on in the past. We can see the present time. Of course we can. That's when we perceive information. We also can see opportunities and aspirations for the future for that person. And why do people say to us, I must go and see a medium to be able to do this, when actually you've all got the same opportunities as anybody else? But it all starts from that little seed that's always within the soul. People say to me about development, and they say, I want to develop to be a medium. And quite often I ask them, what would be your purpose? Now, sometimes they can run into the same type of expression that we hear all the time about, I just want to be able to do this and I want to be able to do that. My full belief of development of mediumship, I feel, is inspired from the calling of the soul. I feel that when that moment arises, that it's a collectiveness of the spirit world and our own consciousness within the spirit of our own soul that gives us that calling, that it's now time to experience something uniquely different that we have the opportunity within our own soul to achieve. Now, if you look at mediumship in its sense, if you look at the abilities that we can be able to perceive the information of somebody that's passed to, let's say, the spirit world as we know it. How do we do it? People say, how do you do it? And what you've got to understand is that is uniquely open to every possibility, to every person that wishes to do it. Now, I must stress at this point that if it's not within the soul, then you won't achieve it. If it's within the calling of the spiritual soul that lays within you, and there is that seed that is beginning to grow about understanding the presence of the power that's within you to communicate with another soul in a different consciousness, then that starts to become not just a truth, but it comes a reality as well, because it has to come from within. It cannot just come from reading an article and going, I want to become a medium. Because what happens within mediumship, as I just explained, there has to be that presence, that power of wanting to ignite, to be able to communicate with other worlds, other people in different consciousness, whether they be within the psychic element of this world or the spiritual aspect of the spirit world. Now, when we have that calling, there's a power. There's a power that moves in us. It moves through us. It's very difficult to understand, but it's a power of belief. It's a power of existence. It's a power of reality. It's all masked within that word of spiritualism. It's all masked within the word of spirituality, if you like. Sometimes I don't like to place categories or certain parts of our knowledge or our understanding into different categories, because I believe that there should never be a category, because everything is possible. There's no There's no limit to anything. There's a limitless world that we all have possibilities. Now, if we're to categorize things, then what we're saying is that certain things would only become understanding to each and every person if they start to identify it in the way that we have identified it. And I don't feel that that's the right way to do it. I feel that when we have this presence and this power starting to knock on the door from us, and it's inspired by the spirit world, it's inspired by the calling of our own soul, then we have to investigate. Now, my full belief here is that we are, how can I say it, such a power that we don't understand about ourselves at all. We have got such a strength and we've got such a unique opportunity of moving in to a spiritual dimension that we don't always understand that we can do it. Now, if I were to say to you now that once we start to move the awareness through us, that the possibilities and the opportunities all become more open to us, the more that we start to look within the power of mediumship. If we were to start to build the presence of our soul and the understanding of our life purpose, then we would feel the presence of the power of God within us. Now, once we start to feel that presence and that power, then there is no boundaries. All of our opportunities of working psychically and spiritually, as we explain, then start to become into fruition into our world. We start to have an understanding that, yes, we're communicating with other souls, whether they be here or in another consciousness. It doesn't make any difference. I quite often understand that I get people saying to me about psychic, what is psychic? Well, if we're to look at psychic itself for a moment, we'd understand that psychic belongs to this world. Psychic has nothing to do with the spirit world. Psychic is the perception of the energy of somebody that's here in the physical world. It's giving us the opportunity to be able to, as I explained earlier, read the energy of that person and find the evidential aspect of the psychic to understand what's going on with their life in the past, present, and possibly within the future as well. I don't like to predict about the future because, again, yes, there is opportunities to understand that it's all there, and yes, there is a presence and a power that we can perceive because there is no boundaries within connecting to another soul. So yes, there is opportunities of being able to perceive the information about somebody's, I would say opportunities, again, as I just used that word, for the future. If we was to look at the difference between spiritual connection, then spiritual belongs to the spirit world. It's what we call the communication with a person that's already passed to the spirit world, that was once here in this world. Now, as if we call ourselves a medium, so to speak, which I will give that as an identification. So if we call ourselves a medium, when we connect to the spirit world in the way of using and raising our vibration within the soul, then it drops all boundaries away from us. There is no walls to climb. There's no roads to go down. It becomes an open, vast vibration where we are then within the consciousness and the presence of the spirit world itself. When we move in there, move into that vibration is more of a word I want to find. But when we move into that vibration, then we are connecting to the consciousness of the people that's in the spirit world, i.e. our loved ones, your loved ones. And what happens is that they will have a conversation with us. They will be able to communicate with the presence of our spirit. And with our own presence of power, we can relay that information to you here in this world. I'm trying to break it down into separate worlds for the moment so that I don't beat you around too much with scientifical allegations here that it's not making so much sense to you. So I'm trying to place the spirit there in this world here so that we're getting an understanding that we're communicating between them two worlds, if that makes sense. So when we perceive that information, we relay it to you. Now, how we relay it to you is dependent upon the medium themselves. Now, the medium, if the medium is finding the real presence of their own soul and finding the presence and the power of them as a person, they can then start to relay the information a lot more to you. Because again, there's no boundaries between the two souls. So again, it's like, well, consciousness is moving one area of consciousness and perception of information into the consciousness of the medium. And then they can relay it to you within the awareness of your consciousness as well. So when the information comes to you, then the medium will give you information that is very evidential to the existence of the person that we are speaking to in the spirit world, to prove, probably not the word to use is prove, because it's not for us to prove. It's for you to prove that the information that we're giving to you in a certain way is relating to the evidence of the person that was once here. But we have got an area here where we have to understand that we have to give proven evidence to you, so that you can clarify that person was definitely here in this world at one time. Now, when we start to give that, we have to be able to be aware of all elements of communication. We have to be aware of the physical aspect of the person. We have to be aware of the emotional aspect of the person. We have to understand the mental areas of the mind of the person. We have to understand the memories. Everything that starts to move around moves through us. So when the medium is working, it's not just one vibration. There's many aspects of vibrations that move through the awareness of the medium, which carries the information with them. Now, when we start to bring that information to you, it can come to you within words, but it also can come to you within the presence of feeling. So as the medium brings the love of the communicator, what as we call the communicator is the loved one from the spirit world to you, then you'll feel a presence of your loved one there. You will feel the presence as they touch the elements and the essence of your soul once again. And that comes from them within the aspect of the spirit world. The medium's job is very much of personal responsibility. The medium is not just there to say, I give you information and that's the end of it. A medium's job is absolutely crucial to the point that they are perceiving the correct information. They are giving it in the most honest way and the most loving and loyal way that they can possibly be able to give that to the person. You have to understand that connecting to the spirit world is not just the proof of somebody was once here, but it's the healing aspect that they still remain in the internal life, that they haven't gone anywhere. They've just moved consciousness, like what we spoke about earlier. Now, when somebody moves that consciousness, they don't become a magical person. They are exactly the same as what they were when they was here. Their personalities remain exactly the same. If they were somebody that never showed affection so much when they was here, they will only be the same as what they are over there. So you would never feel the presence of affection if it was never here during the communication. What you have to understand is the essence of love moved through us, but it can only come from them as well. We cannot give you our love as a medium. We have to be able to feel that power as it touches our awareness and creates within our sensitivity a vibration that we can then identify to bring forward to you, and then be able to give you this vibration for you to feel the presence and the essence of your loved one in the spirit world. Now, to achieve this, People have to understand that self-development is not about going to a development class and just learning how to be a medium. Self-development comes from in here, like I spoke about earlier. It comes from being in the presence of the understanding that there's a calling, there's a need, there's a want. There is this voice that carries on within you, not audibly, but sensitivity, that creates this calling for you to understand that there's a need for you to investigate about you as a person. Self-development is bringing this sense of healing towards you from maybe past traumas that's ever happened in your world, for past anything that's happened and created in the past that you feel that maybe stops you moving forward, is the part of where you'll start to understand that's the time now where the calling will create its own opening for you. When we move into the abilities of what we call into the mediumship, we don't just be able to learn or see or hear the spirit world. We have to be present within ourselves in order to be able to use our very own sensitivities to pick up this information that's coming to us from a vibration of another soul that's around us. If we can't feel present, if we can't feel love, if we can't feel the presence of God within us, then you will find it very difficult to communicate with anybody, let alone the spirit world. You know, this world is made up of a vast amount of people. Some people, you would understand some of their acts of violence or some of their acts of what they create towards another person is astronomically insane. It really is. And sometimes, you know, we look and we go, what goes on in that person's mind? You know, we'll never understand. No, we won't. We'll never understand, because the presence and the balance of everyone's personality and the spiritual aspect of that person is different. Now, somebody that creates an act of unkindness to somebody else, if you want my own opinion, is that they're not really in touch of their spirit side. They're more physically involved within the presence of the physical world and caught up within the presence of the physical world. If you was to create an act of violence towards somebody, then you're not feeling the presence of you. You're not feeling the presence of the spirituality that sits quite deeply within inside of you. You're too aware of this world. If you're aware of this world, then you need to do a lot of work to be aware of the consciousness around you, and that creates that opening to be able to move into the power of the spirit world as well. If I were to ask myself here and say to myself, you know, is it right for me to try and understand other people's feelings or knowledge about how their world is? I would say to myself, it's more appropriate to understand what I can give to that person than to understand them. If I can give something to somebody that maybe be able to ignite that spark within them, that they could then start to understand the presence of themselves more stronger or more clearer, then I would feel that that would achieve more than for me to try and understand who they are as a person. In our world, we must understand that, as I said to you just now, you know, there is so many different, let's call, personalities. There's so many different people with personalities with the same different kinds of objectiveness and you know, and their different visions of life in itself. And some people really do follow in a strong belief of what they feel would be right to lead in the way that they do their life. And that's okay if that's how that person wants to be. But it's never for us to determine somebody who wants to live their life in the way that they wish to, that it's wrong. Because everybody's life is completely uniquely different to the way that they want to lead it. If you feel that you want to follow a religion, follow your religion. Feel free to. If you feel that you want to exercise certain democratic rights in your world, then feel free to do so. That's your obligation. And of course, you know, what we have to understand is that, you know, if somebody wants to understand and follow the rights of spirituality or spiritualism, then they're entitled to do that as well. But what you must understand is that everybody that's within the presence and the consciousness of this world has a reaction to their action. And if somebody is following some, let's just say that somebody's following some kind of avenue in their life that may be differently seen by others, then that's not for us to say that that's wrong, but it's maybe for us to help them to understand that maybe to look at it in a different vision would clarify them seeing it in a different way. Now, if you're a spiritual person or a spiritualist, so to speak, then we don't see everything in the right way in life. Of course we don't. Again, because we are only a spiritual being living within a physical existence. So, of course, there's elements of our life that are very much attached to the physical world. So, the understanding of spirituality may be strong within the soul, but the understanding of the physical world may not be so apparent. So, of course, what can happen is the spiritual person or spirituality can be more present within the person than the physical world. Now, when we feel that, or we feel the presence of that within somebody, then if you were to look at that person, you would see their outward look upon life totally different, where they would not accept so much of the physical world present within their world. That person will be more of a person that will feel the presence of life within the spirituality, the presence of God, the presence of love that sits very firmly within inside of their soul. If we have that existence created in this world by each and every single one of us, surely this world would be of a better understanding. If we were to look at what we do to our world, the world itself is just a world. There's nothing you can do with it. It will carry on growing trees, it will carry on having the sea, it will carry on having mountains and land for many millions of years to come. The only thing that will differ is what we put within this world. If we can see this world, and if we look at this world, how we've evolved in this world in the last, say, 100 years, then within that 100 years, we've achieved a lot. We seriously have. But have we achieved a lot within us or a lot within the physical world? I would say we've achieved a lot within the physical world and not a lot within the spirituality of the presence and the essence of us. I would say that we have got a lot more work to do in this world to start to get a better understanding that if we place a more, let's just say, I don't want to say that we're trying to coat this world in something different, but let's just say that we plant the seed of kindness and love more apparent in this world, then surely that's what we're going to leave for the people that's to come in this world in many, many, many years to come. If we were to leave this world today, all of us, how could we ever say that this world was if we were to make a statement? Could we say it's a place of love and kindness? Could we say it's a place of complete beauty? Could we say that it's a place of everybody within mankind is helping each other in such a way that there's a big difference becoming to this world? I fear probably not. I fear that we would speak very negatively of this world in a certain way, but there'd be some great beauty aspects to it as well, and some great achievements that's come of it. But I'd say if we was to look at it in how we treat each other and how we see each other, I would say that we're not seeing it in the way that it should be. Again, it's because the presence of love and power within each and every single one of us is never discovered enough for it to take a difference and a different outlook upon this world. It's never been discovered enough. We need to be able to feel the presence within us in order to be able to bring it to the outside of our world as well. If we were to look at the presence of love, what do we call love? How do we see love? Do we feel love? Do we give love? I think, in life, we're very much margined into feeling that love is just a word in so many ways, and it actually doesn't feel so much power and presence within a lot of people's lives. And I would probably agree with that. I would probably agree with that, that love is something that is created within the presence of the soul. It comes together of a vibration of spirituality. It becomes a vibration of kindness, love, compassion, empathy, existence, all within one bubble. And that is what we give as love. If we were to love somebody, that we have to feel the presence of what we're looking for within us, within somebody else. Because otherwise, how can we identify what we're wanting to be love if we can't understand what it's like to maybe expel the love that we have within us? Now, I'm not saying that you have to feel loved to be loved, because that's completely wrong. No, you don't have to. You can be loved by everything and everyone and feel the most loved person in the world. But in order for you to maybe understand the presence of love within you, maybe you need to tap into it a little bit more. And maybe when you feel that presence within you, you'd maybe understand that love becomes more of an ingredient of life than just a factual part. If we look at, how people present love in books and things like that, they say, he loved her very much, and it's like presence. We can feel a power in there. But we need to be able to understand, as we relate to something that we're understanding that has been given to us, then maybe we have to relate to it in a part of where we can feel that inside of us as well. If we were to look into the love of communicating with other people, there has to be that point of where we can see no boundaries. There's no walls. There is nothing. It's an illusion. All we are doing is communicating with somebody else. We drop the physical aspect and connect solely to the person's soul. And when we achieve that, we can feel presence of love within them. We can feel the presence of love within us. We can feel the presence of love within the beauty of love. I hope I'm not losing you all today, but I like to talk about different aspects of the soul, because the soul is such, if I were to say, break it down into a very understandable experience here, I would say that the soul is such an engineered existence of us. It's unbelievable. It's completely unbelievable. We tap in to a very minute part of the presence of our soul. And of course, when we move into that power of the soul, it speaks to us, it talks to us. We can get the understanding about where we're going in life, what we're looking for in life. We can get the understanding of what our past experiences brought to us. Why did they bring them to us? And I feel that sometimes in life that, things are presented to us, not because they're here to maybe challenge us or maybe to learn a lesson. I get the feeling, for me, that these experiences are presented to us for us to be able to experience it to a point of where we then call it, that's enough. That's enough. I'm not going to continue to experience this anymore, because I have now had the experience of this, and I'm using that word experience quite a few times here, but I'm hoping you're understanding it. But it's like, if we're presented with something, it's like, for me, I feel the presence of it. I feel the power of it. I feel not what it's got to give to me, but I've got what I can give to that experience in order for me to be able to understand it. And when I feel that I've understood it, then the presence and the power within me will dismiss that. I don't need to understand it anymore. I don't allow for the situation to teach me. I allow for myself to understand the teachings of the situation. So that what happens is that when I feel that I've understood this situation enough, and I don't feel that I want to experience it anymore because I'm understanding it to a point of where, yes, I can move away from it, then I will do. And that's what I do. Hence why some people always go through something quite similar all the time. Or hence why some people may be sitting in a situation where people go, come on, see, all you got to do is, just change it, And some people won't change it. And then all of a sudden, one day they wake up and they do. And we look at it, and it's not because that they're made to. It's because they have had a better understanding for the length of time in that experience. And that is what the soul wanted, to understand it to a point. And I'm not saying that's definite for everything, but it's a better understanding of how I see it. I don't feel that this world presents us with negativity. I feel that the world presents us with positivity. And I feel that it presents us with experiences. How we perceive them is through the negative or positive eye. If we was going to see it negative, it will dawn upon us and build a vibration around us, what will then interfere with our lives and our existence, and it will start to bring a presence of negativity to the whole situation itself. And it will start to bog us down into the point of where we're not getting an experience from it because we're being suffocated by it. Or we can see it as a positivity. Now, if we see it as a positivity, then the quicker we see it in that way, the quicker we can enjoy that presence of it. And enjoying something where if somebody sees it negative and you see it positive, then they will say, well, how come you can enjoy such a negative experience? Well, it's like, well, it's not, because I'm seeing it as a positive, so I enjoy it. So there's different aspects of how the illusion of our minds work. And if we were to look at the illusion of life, is life here for us to experience? Is life here, some people say, to teach us lessons? I don't feel that life is here to teach us a lesson. I feel that life is such a power that we would never identify what and why it's here in the first place. Because I feel that there is no beginning and no end. I feel that life is a complete and utter open consciousness, that we can never, ever, ever have a beginning or an end to it, because we continue to live every day. And sometimes it may be that we're here within the presence of a physical world and we'll experience this. But what you've got to understand is that time is only created within the physical world. Time is of no essence in any other consciousness. It doesn't exist. So we're governed to how we see the presence of the experience of this moment here in the physical world. We are governed by that time. We look and we say it's 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. And, and people say, well, you can't live past 110 or mainly people die at a certain point. I could understand that because, we have to have some sort of laws of intervention where we have some kind of basic understanding of a time difference. But that's only due to each and every different person's preference. But I feel that if we had no time and there was no understanding of what a time looked like, or a date or a month or a year, then how could we ever comprehend what time is to us? If you were to look at the physical body and it starts to age, and I know mine has now, but if we were to look at it and we start to see the physical body in the way that it ages, then surely that has a reflection upon how we see life itself, or how we perceive within the depths of the soul. If there was nothing that ignites that trigger within the mind, then surely we would never have a perception of being older. And you've heard the saying, you're as old as you feel. And I believe in that. And so I feel that we are within this physical world for no more than just a moment. And within that moment, we gather an experience that gives us an opportunity to be able to have the blessing of having a moment here in the world. People say that we're here to build emotions. How do you know that we never came here without them emotions in the beginning? How do you know that every single experience we have in this world is only here for us to feel the presence of them emotions, but they're already there? And certain experiences trigger them so that we can have a moment of experience. How boring would life be if we lived in the same placebo all the time, without any emotions, without any experience of love, without any consciousness, without any understanding, without any scientific point, without any education, wisdom, knowledge, hurt, pain? How boring would life be? So surely what you've got to understand is that all of these feelings and sensitivities and awarenesses are already present within our soul. But of course, as we move through the experience of life, there's certain aspects of that life that trigger them experiences. How do, if we to look at it, and let's just say when somebody passes, we feel the presence of grief. Why do we feel the presence of grief? Why do we not go and have a party like they do when people get married? Why does it have to be that the parting of somebody's existence here has to create such a dull moment in our existence, in feeling within our emotions? Why? Are we led to believe that? Do we want to see it in that way? Is that how we can, clarify the passing of somebody? Why is it a passing? There's all answers here. There's all questions, that need maybe answers, or maybe they never be answered. But if you look at it, you could see that understanding about how we can perceive the difference in life itself. Is life an illusion? Is life here solemnly within our minds? Who knows? But what I do know is that every day that life comes to us, we embrace it. And we embrace it within the way that we feel that we want to. And we embrace it within the existence of how we want that moment to achieve something within us. Every day our soul is alive. It's a vibration. It can't die. It can't go anywhere. It's a vibration. But as it's alive, it's open to opportunity. It's open to what we want to feed it. It's just like if we go to McDonald's and we look at the menu. We order a Big Mac one day, cheeseburger the next. Because that's what we feel that we want on that day. Same within our life. Something happens to us tomorrow. Something may not happen to us the next day. Something may happen to us the next day. And it might continue for a period of time. How we embrace that is how we deal with it. And how we embrace it is how we then educate others from the same type of experience. And like I say to you, maybe if we went back to the moment of when, let's just say that there's evidence of mankind here on this world, who's to say that somebody felt pain when somebody passed? Who's to say that we're not led to believe all the way through the generations and thousands of years, that's the emotion that you show? Who's to say that that's not how we've been educated? Nobody. Because I feel that we are so individual and unique that we are allowed to feel the presence of what we want to in our world and not what we're led to believe. We are allowed to feel love, happiness, kindness, hurt, pain. We're allowed to feel all of it when we want to. And nobody's to say to us to change it, or nobody's there to tell us to feel anything different. Sometimes things touch some people and some people go, wow, look at their reaction. And it's like, no, look at your reaction. Maybe they felt it in the way that they wanted to. Maybe that's how they wanted to feel it. Let them be. And I feel this world now is so conditioned to the point of where we are so busy about what other people are doing and how other people see things, that we are just absolutely moving away from the presence and the existence of enjoying life to the actual point of where we're getting to that level of where it's like, if somebody else is enjoying something, then people want to take it away. And I find that very, I want to say probably not upsetting, but not very understanding about how people can be like that. Because again, they're not finding that presence and power like we spoke about earlier within them. If they're not finding it within here, it can never be seen out here because they're too present in the physical world. The physical world is like a lion's den. It truly is. There's certain roads you can't walk in this world because you will be shot dead. There's certain parts of this world you can never go. And if you look at it, we create it. The world didn't create it, we did. How did we create such a place? Because of the understanding and the perception of how we see that life should be is the first key of how it will change. If we were to look at the violence in some of these places, why are they so violent? Why are people shooting each other all day long? Who said that that's normal? I don't think it's normal. But why? Has somebody not stood up and said, stop? Put your arms around each other. Give each other a hug. Throw the guns down. No, because that's not within them to be able to achieve that on the outside. Because what they're looking at is let's kill all of them and then we can become the power. We can become the present. When actually the power and the present is within you. It's not in this physical world. What's in this physical world is the mind of a person that wishes to create the illusion of power through the presence of, say, violence or any other acts. That's where it comes from. I'm not here today to tell you to feel love for every single thing and everyone in the world, because I wouldn't practice or preach that myself. What I'm here for is to explain to you that if you want to feel the presence and the power and the love and the understanding of whatever you feel that you want to in this world, find it in here. Don't look for it in here. Look for it in here. Because the presence of the soul strips you back into the spirituality of what you first came here with. Now, if we were to look at a baby is completely and utterly unblemished of anything in this world. It's only as the baby starts to grow from what the baby is led to feel and believe in is where they become more and more detached. Detached is not a word. Detached, from their own spiritual soul. And the further they become, the more that gap gets filled with the presence of the physical world. Now, if you're finding from the moment you are born that you're feeling the presence of you, the presence of love, the presence of existence, of humanity within the way that we feel it, then that's what will become apparent in your world, which then you will educate, not voice education, but from what other people see your actions from becoming will have the knock-on effect on whether it ignites the soul of the other person or not. It's amazing how, if we look at life, how we can change it just like that. And that is, if we get the calling from the spirit world, if we get the calling from the presence of the soul, then we know that it's time. That's the time when we investigate the development, as we call, of mediumship. That's when we investigate that part of where we communicate with other souls, whether they're incarnate or discarnate. That's the point of where development takes place in our life. It comes from in here first. And it has to. Because otherwise, you will never be able to communicate with another soul all the time you're too present within this world. You have to find the presence in you first, the calling of you, the wanting. And it's not about adding empathy into our world. It's about unlocking the potential of healing towards another person. The joy, the comfort, the love, the understanding, the wisdom, the knowledge, all of these fantastic words that we all have within us start to unlock that potential that then starts to become so mandatory and understanding that it becomes who we are and not what we are. Mediumship is about who you are. It's not about what you are. So if you feel that you want to find that presence of you as a person, then you have that opportunity there of unlocking that great potential of finding that better existence within you. And along comes them opportunities of being able to communicate with other souls as well. But it doesn't stop at that. Spirituality does not stop at mediumship. It goes on vastly into different consciousness and gives you a better understanding of how the presence of your soul is within this physical world. And when we leave the physical world, where we go into a different consciousness. I don't feel that life is, we come here, we learn a lesson, we go to the spirit world. I don't feel that. I don't feel that at all. I don't feel that anybody's got a complete right answer because I don't feel there's an answer. As I said earlier, I feel that it's all of an experience. And what we gather in that experience is what becomes us. That's who we are. It's not just the person that holds the door open for somebody or lends somebody £1. That's just the very, 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 very minute pieces of spirituality. But that's just, as we call it, spirituality. I have to give it some kind of name for you to understand it today. But that's just the presence of you. That's just you. That's in you. That's who you are. If we go past a homeless person in the street and we share a thought, that's enough. That's enough. You don't have to give them £1. Sharing a thought for another person in this world is enough. Because it's a thought of kindness. And it's a thought of a poor person. And even if we walk past them and just look and share a little thought, that's beautiful. That's perfect. You don't have to go in your pocket for £1. When you walk past and you've got no change, don't feel bad. Because maybe the person that will give them the £1 didn't spare them the thought like you did. So with all of them ingredients is what brings, like I said to you earlier, that level of humanity into this world. And it's all these beautiful acts of kindness is what makes this world a different place and can make it a different place. So always remember the thought of kindness is good enough. Now, if we were to just look again at this moment of where the consciousness of this world belongs within us, I would probably say that none of us can answer it today. I would say that we would be very lost at looking of where it all is. And do you know what? I think we should just, living here in this existence of this beautiful place for a moment, a mere breath of life, should be felt. And I'm going to say it should be felt and accepted with such presence of love for however long we're here. Doesn't make any difference. And always remember, because I hear this quite often when people say, especially with people that pass early in life, there's no God, there's no this. That's okay if you feel like that. That's absolutely okay. My understanding of life is that the presence of the spirit world, the presence of God, never takes a life. Never does. Nobody takes a life. Only if you physically take a life. But if we're to look at the dimensional aspect about life, there's no higher self that will take a life. There isn't. Nobody is in charge of your life apart from you. And as I said, if a life is physically taken on this world, then that happens. But there's no force or power above us or around us that will take somebody's life at all. Absolutely not. So it's natural to blame. Of course it is. And if that's what makes the situation or the experience better for you, then please, feel free to do so. But I just wanted to add that in there for you today. There's nobody takes a life. What you have to understand is the presence of the power of God is within us all the time. My absolute perception, that's the word. My perception of God is within us. And when we feel the presence of us, we feel the presence of God as well. Because God is around us, in us, part of us, and are us. And when we feel that, that's when we answer our own prayers. So please don't feel that anybody's life has ever been cheated and taken by the presence of God or Spirit, because it hasn't. It really hasn't. Always understand as well, I think it's very fascinating at how coordinated our world becomes. And you have to understand that there is a massive element of human error in our world. There is. And of course, at certain points, I don't feel that life is orchestrated so much that everybody's death is created for them to leave this world at a particular time. I don't feel that. Now, you could have your own opinions. Absolutely, please do, because it's only natural, normal. I'll give you my experience here. I feel that there's millions and millions of people that live in this one planet. Now, human error is massively strong, and sometimes it just happens. It just happens. And I don't feel that there's any blame that should be given to somebody in that point of taking from a higher self of life. I just feel that accidents do happen. I do. And I feel that and I don't feel that everything is so orchestrated down to the finest tunement that it happens or it happens to certain people and it doesn't happen to others. I'm not seeing that myself. But again, that's another situation. It's another debate, I suppose, for another day. But please, obviously have your own individual thoughts on that, and don't let mine sway you in any other way, because your way of belief is what adds to this world. It's not for us to follow people. It's not for us to say, well, he or she believes in it in this way and I'm going to believe in it that way. If it feels right for you and it starts to feel right in here, believe in whatever you feel that you want to. Okay? So don't read a book and go, I'm going to become a medium tomorrow because this in that book says I can do this. And then read another one and go, I don't want to become a medium. That's scary. Don't let anything sway you. If you feel that you want to investigate the life and the consciousness of life further, then you'll get a calling, you'll feel it, you'll know it. And once it's there, then you can start to investigate it further. When it's there, we can then start to give you the opportunities of being able to make that experience better for yourself. And then, of course, then this is when you'll come to, say, a school or a college or an individual development place where you can start to use your own sensitivities to be able to add to that perception of picking up the difference in vibrations from the spirit world. But if you feel that you're wanting just to go off and become a medium, and it's like one day you wake up and go, I'm fed up with my job and I'm going to go and become a medium, it won't work. It doesn't work. You'll chase it and follow it for the rest of your life. It has to come from in here. And at what point of some people's lives it comes to, different. It varies. There's a difference to everybody's experience on life. So it won't always be the same for other people. Some people it's much younger, some people it's a lot older, and some people it just all varies. So when that moment comes, as I said to you, allow it. Allow the power and the presence to drive you and inspire you into the direction where you feel that you need to go. And when you feel that presence, allow for your inspiration to take you to the place where you feel that you wish to continue with the investigation of mediumship. Because you'll be drawn to the right school, you'll be drawn to the right teachers, you'll be drawn to the right way. And sometimes they may be given something for you at that point. And sometimes they don't give you anything at all. But it's all because of an experience. But be led to feel the presence and the power of where your investigation into your mediumship should go. Don't just see an advert in a paper and go, £5, I'm going to go and become a medium. Because it doesn't work. Feel the presence in here. And when you feel that presence of love and the presence and the power of God within you, you'll know that it's time for you to understand. And we're very thankful for the scientific point of life as well at some points as well, because that's giving us a bit of an added extra edge upon how the great meanings of mediumship and vibrations work as well. I haven't today complicated it too much, hopefully for you. I haven't gone deeply into the vibrations of energies and things because I don't want to lose you at that point. I just wanted you to get to a bit of an understanding today that there's a calling for all of our purposes in life. And when we feel that presence for mediumship, then you'll feel it inside. Then please investigate it further. Please do so. And always remember, the presence of the psychic belongs to this world, but the presence of the spiritual belongs to the other. Okay? So if you're looking at trying to understand, I'll save that point for another day. I'll save it for another day. Okay? So just remember that. Okay? And I just want to say to you all that it's been very difficult in the last year for us all to have an understanding about what's happened in our world. And I feel that it's been a massive opportunity for us to experience different elements of our own soul in many, many ways. And I don't want you to dismiss it under the whole negativity of politics or what's right and what's wrong. Please take the opportunities to move into the deeper levels of yourself. Sit within the silence and see what it has to bring for you. Because there may be something in there that will get you to see a different experience of what's happened. And it may be the key to new doors opening in the rest of your life. So don't be negative. Don't hit the bottle. Don't say that you've been dealt a wrong card. Because you haven't. You've been given an opportunity to experience this physical world in a different way, without regular routine, without being under the understanding that we're all in control. Nobody's in control of this world. Nobody. You're in control of your own life. There may be dictators in this world that maybe are trying to help us in different directions that will maybe not always be appropriate to other people. And some people it is. Some people like to follow dictation. Others don't. Don't get caught up in it all. Take this moment of what's happening in our world to go a bit deeper in your world and feel the presence of what it has to offer in here. And you could be very, very surprised. You really could. So thank you for listening to me today. I hope I haven't lost you all on lots of journeys, and you probably went off and made a cup of tea halfway through, but that's okay as well. That's fine. I like to share things with you because, it's important that in life that we communicate with each other, and I feel that that's very important. So thank you for listening to me. And whenever I feel that I want to give another conversation about something, then I will do. And if you, and I don't mean that in a funny way, I meant as in I'll pop up at different times and say things to you. But if there's anything that you wish to talk about, or something that you wish for me to talk about, then please comment and say, can we have a discussion or a talk or a chat or a live show about something? And I will be absolutely happy to do so. I really will. And remember, we're all entitled to believe in what we want to believe and feel what we want to feel. And me talking to you today is not about me telling you what's right or what's wrong. It's merely my experience. And you can enjoy listening to it and take nothing from it. But as long as you enjoy listening to it, that's all that matters. So please leave a comment below if you wish to talk about something or you have any unanswered questions. And as I said to you today, I merely moved along the surface of it. I haven't gone any depth of it because it's unfair to put so much of a pressure of giving you so much information about some very technical, parts of our conscious minds and everything. I don't want to go too deep with you. So hope you enjoyed it. So take care, everybody. Look after yourselves. Please keep your masks on. Keep washing your hands. And please be very thankful for our NHS and all of our frontline workers, all of our teachers, everybody that's out there doing what they need to do, risking their lives just so that maybe we can have a better life. So please be thankful to them all. And as I said to you, you don't have to give them any money. You don't have to give them anything. Just a thought, because that thought holds a power. It holds a vibration, and it builds an energy of kindness and love towards wherever it is that you send it. And if somebody's feeling unwell with COVID or anything else in this world, please send them loving thoughts, because it really does help. And look after yourselves. Take care and be good.